Initial roster is set.
We all got some takes today, baby.
And we're going inside the film room.
And I'm ready for some football.
He's ready, we're all ready. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome into Command Center, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. How you doing, everyone? Michael Jenkins, Fred Smoot, Logan Paulson, Santana Moss. Before anyone says anything, the biggest iPad ever made.
It has to be like a 1967 Buick.
This was for Andre the Giant, right here. So the 53-man roster is set. Initial impressions.
How many D linemen do we actually need to keep? I'm shocked that we kept that many D linemen.
I'm just happy for the guys that made it. I know this is a long journey for a lot of guys, and there were some surprise guys that made it, so congrats to the guys who made it. I know, thank you, Fred. It's been such a long time since you paid me a compliment. Jesus.
I'm not too surprised. I thought we were going to have that many receivers, around 6.
Yep.
They snuck a 7th one in there, but I thought that 7th and 8th would be a practice squad guy. So it's I'm not too surprised about that.
Well, here's what the head coach Ron Rivera and general manager Martin Mayhew had to say at the podium.
Well, I think the biggest one is we like the positions. I mean, these are some of the guys that really showed very well in camp, and that's a plus for us. And to feel that we're strong at those positions, I think it reflected just how good we feel about those players.
What were some of the harder calls, maybe, Martin?
Always very difficult to make some of those calls. I think defensive line-wise, I won't get into specific players, but that's an area that drives our whole defense. That's a priority for us, and we felt like it's important to have depth there, and important to keep those young players that are playing well for us. Receiver-wise, kind of same thing. Our top guys are really special, we think, and we think there's some young guys that can develop really well behind those.
Time for our mission debrief presented by FedEx, where now meets next. You heard both guys talking about how difficult these decisions were, especially on the defensive side of the football. Fred, biggest surprise to you?
I don't think I had any surprises that popped up on the roster.
He knew.
I don't, but a guy like Tinsley, the things he did, he went out there and made this roster.
Yeah.
So I give him all the props in the world for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's probably the 9-0 lineman. I think there was all indications. All the tea leaves were pointing to 10, and then all of a sudden in the 12th hour, they went 9. I think that's a big indication of how well Ricky Stromberg played. And obviously, Braden Daniels going to IR gave him a little bit more flexibility there at that spot.
I was really rooting for Hodges, and just seeing some of the things that was transpiring with him throughout the preseason, I was like, man, I don't think, his chances are.
Yeah.
The numbers won't work out. And it
just
happened. And when I saw that gave me that sign that our offensive staff sees the same thing that we saw in him. He has a bright future. We just have to get somebody to really develop, that talent.
Well, let's start with the offense, particularly O-line, Logan. What does that number 9 mean?
The 9 is an interesting number because traditionally around the league you go 10, right?
Yeah.
But that means you only keep 6 wide receivers if you're going to keep 3 backs, right? So it limits what your ability to do is at other spots. So having that flex spot, that 9 spot allows you to keep a Tinsley. It allows you to have some flexibility to keep a developmental guy like Hodges. So that's why to me it was really surprising because it opened up what you could do from a skill position standpoint, which I really liked.
And when you talk about the running backs, Fred,
there
were a lot of guys back there, a lot of talent, especially in that final preseason game. But you got 3 guys now who can do a little bit of everything.
Well, that's the thing about it. You got guys that allows you to play any type of football you want to play.
Okay.
With Big Robinson, you want to go between the tackles, the A and the B gap. There you go. Rodriguez can come in and backdoor that. Then you got the wide receiver, the guy that can do basically anything. So I think with this group, Coach Bieniemy sees them as what do we need to do that day? That's who I'm gonna plug and play. That's who will get the most rep this day. If they got a linebacker on the other side that can't cover running backs, this is going to be an Antonio Gibson game. So I think he has that Swiss Army knife when it comes to that group right there.
I was going to say, the cool thing about that, too, is Chris Rodriguez, made the team.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought Jonathan Williams was going to be the guy. EB said, he's going to have to earn that opportunity. So good job, Chris Rodriguez, saying, I deserve this 3rd spot. He balled out in the preseason.
And he's going to get some reps. He's not on the team just to be on the team. He's going to get some ball. He's definitely going to be used.
Well, Santana, we talked about in the preseason, we saw in the last game, Mitchell Tinsley was really great, and you like what you saw out of him.
I love what I saw with him, and one of the things that Fred said last week that stood out to me because we saw this throughout our
stuff that Fred.
There's always the guy you least expect to go out there to make it, end up making it. It's always one of those guys, and Tinsley's one of those guys. He's flashed all preseason, but we just knew it was another 2 guys. We thought it was another two guys that probably would get the nod, and for him to go out there
he made it count when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
Dude,
he went out there,
100%.
the guy just he showed up. He almost had 2 tugs.
Yeah.
And we saw those splashes in practice. We saw him make catch after catch each preseason game, and when it mattered the most, man, his number got called, and that's what it is. You got to show up.
And Logan, deep tight end room, 4 guys.
Yeah.
Deep tight end room, absolutely. And I, kind of wonder, like, what is Logan Thomas's health? Do you need Hodges to kind of supplement that? But I think to Tana's point about Hodges, like a guy who literally has everything you want at the position. 6'8", 240, can runs routes like a receiver, has improved as an inline blocker. Again, we talked about seeing some of that competitiveness at the catch point didn't show up. Got to finish plays. But if you look at this year, which Ron said, look at it like it's his rookie season because he was hurt all last year. Man, I think you feel really, really good about what he can bring, and hopefully you can develop him.
Everybody forgets about Bates Motel.
Bates Motel.
Do not forget, if you go to Bates Motel, you might get killed in there. So, John Bates is a guy that I think he do nothing great. He does everything good.
Everything good.
And
I have a lot of respect
and
for
I think
Bates.
that'll keep him in the league a long time.
And then you didn't even mention Cole Turner, man. That guy has absolutely balled. in the
he showed
preseason.
up.
And you said we got to see it in the regular season, but a guy that has 100% earned more opportunities within this offense. So I feel really good about that, especially if Logan Thomas is healthy.
And then you got to think, all those guys was kind of nicked last year going into the regular season. So it was hard for a young guy like Cole Turner to go out there
figure it out.
and really figure it out after coming off an injury
Yeah.
and not really having enough opportunities. He got the opportunities this preseason and showed up each game, and now he's going to the regular season as one of those guys.
Defensively, 11 guys on the D line, which is another surprising number.
Very surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, in the press conference, they said that was the most difficult decision.
Yeah.
You don't normally keep 11, right?
Never.
You keep a 6 DB usually, right?
Yeah.
But all those guys, Casey Toohill, James Smith-Williams, Andre Jones, and KJ Henry, they made it. They said we got to keep all of them, right? And I think the good thing about those guys, they all play teams, right?
Yeah.
So you feel a little bit better about that group, kind of saying, here, I've established myself, and we have some roster flexibility because of that athleticism.
That's the gift and the curse of drafting well. I'm sorry. That's the gift and the curse of it. You draft well, now you make it to that point where we got to cut somebody. We don't want to cut any of these guys. And that's what they came up with. Like, nah, we need to keep all these guys. All these guys can contribute to this team. All these guys can add to it, and you just hit it on the head.
Yeah.
To really make it with that type of number, you got to play special teams. And that's what most of these guys do.
And then knowing how we play, our D-line is always in and off the field. You know what I mean? So you have to have those guys ready. You want our guys, our top 4 guys, 4 or 5 guys to be fresh. And that's the way we play the game. You don't see too many of those guys taking, long extended times being on the field for long drives. They changing these guys out. So whoever's up that week, whether you on special teams that week and you're getting a lot of burn there, if you up, just know you're going to get a chance to go out there and stretch your stuff.
And I was going to say, there might not be a special teams killer in that group, but they have special teams killers at other spots. Yeah. They got Mayo, they got Hudson, they got Percy, they got the DB, I'm forgetting his name at the moment, Christian Holmes, right? Who are absolutely killers. Yeah. So you can get away. When you got killers, you can get away with guys maybe who aren't the best of all time. Get some D linemen out there, cover kicks.
And finally, we've got 10 DBs. You got a lot of versatility there, Fred.
Well, we got 5 and 5.
Which is unusual.
It's very unusual. It's usually 6 cornerbacks, and we'll figure out the rest with the safety. That's the way we usually go. But I think the ultimate Swiss Army knife in this is Quan Martin. I think Quan Martin is a guy that plays safety, he plays nickel, he plays outside corner, he plays a little bit of everything. So he's your switch hitter. Wherever you need me, coach, that's where I be. Cam Curl going down playing a lot of what they call big nickel. We just gonna call it nickel these days. He goes down, he plays a little bit linebacker. So I just think with the DBs, they got a group that they trust back there. They added some young guys in that group, but I think they just trust this group from last year and want to see them get better. A guy like Percy Butler got better. So they got better as a group and they got younger.
Absolutely.
Well, it's good to have the roster set, even though some tough decisions had to be made. Speaking of those decisions, our senior staff writer, Zach Selby, has all the details, everything you need to know about this initial 53-man roster, from the decision to keep Mitchell Tinsley to the state of the defensive line. For an in-depth review, make sure you head on over to commanders.com for the full article. And you have got to get tickets now, because standing room only tickets have been released for FedEx Field Week 1.
Can you believe
I'm
that?
telling you.
The house will be rocking. That means we ain't got no chairs for you. that means we already paid. We got no chairs for you. Let it go. I can't wait for that game.
Fred, listen, get those tickets, and we got to listen to you, because I can already tell you're fired up.
Time for Fred's Fired Up, presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of your Washington Commanders. Welcome to Fred's Fired Up, and I'm fired up about FedEx Field. I'm fired up about the house that we built. Not Logan, the house that we built. Because back nowadays, used to be 90,000 strong. How old are you? I'm 100. And I used to make a play, they used to be like, smooth. And I can feel the whole field vibrating on my thing. But right now, I'm happy that Terry McLaurin, John Allen, Payne, Sweat, Emmanuel Forbes get to play in front of the same crowd I did. And I can't wait till the Cardinals get a taste of what we got cooking. He said, whatever I see.
Always great to hear Smoot do his thing, and the people demand more. You can listen to Fred and myself on the Get Loud podcast, which streams each and every week. We talk all things football, pop culture, and more. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you stream your podcasts. You can also catch Fred alongside Santana and Logan on the Command Center podcast. This week, they've got 2 big episodes as they recap the preseason and take a deep dive into the final roster. You can stream the Command Center podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your pods. Hey, Logan, looks like you're living in the comments.
Thanks, Jenks. Really appreciate it. Fred, Tana, we've been in the comments quite a bit, and one of the things that keeps coming up is what is this offense going to look like? We've shown a lot of Kansas City stuff, but now we got some preseason film, so let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So at its core, this is a West Coast offense,
Yes,
right?
it is.
So they do a really good job in West Coast offenses of creating throwing windows in space based on coverage. This is going to be a cover 2. They're going to roll to a cover 2. He's going to roll back here, roll to the corner, too high look here, okay? So let's go. They're going to run a bow concept, or what I call a bow concept. This guy's going to come down. You remember this, Tana? Sit over the ball, basic, flat. Okay, and everyone says that's a pretty simple concept. Everybody runs it. But watch what it does to the defense. Let's point at this flat defender. He's got to match the flat. He's going to push with the flat, right? You see that? Boom, out with the flat. See this hook player here? He's got to carry the basic, right? So what that does, just by concept versus cover 2, you got to call it versus the right coverage, obviously, is it helps you create space and easy throws for the quarterback, right? If the quarterback can identify coverage, I can know where to go with the football, right? So this is like a really basic fundamental principle, but see how it's not, it's horizontally separating. There's not a lot of vertical depth here. That's what you're going to get. So ball's out. Easy completion for the quarterback. Let's not make it too hard for him. Right?
No,
Let's make it easy for our guys. Sam,
you want second and short. That's what you want.
Absolutely. And then we get, that's a third down converted there. Easy money, right? Again, another element of this, right? So up top, we're going to get a, what I call, remember this chair concept, Tana? Under, corner, right? This is excellent versus cover 2.
I'm going to say cover 2 beater.
In this game, they were running cover 2 and cover 1, right? So what they do here is they're going to motion this back across, right? He's going to run a bubble. And so now what we've done is this versus cover 2, we've got this great answer, right? Because if it's cover 2, this corner's got to match. He's going to have a great leverage to run this corner, be wide open, right? But if it's cover 3, you're kind of boned, right? Because this dude's going to back up.
Wait on this.
Be right in the throwing window. The hook player's going to be right there. You're going to have a hard time. If it's versus cover 3, now our answer's down here at the bottom. We basically created an isolation route here with our guy Pringle at the bottom. Everybody's moving away in cover 3 versus a 4-by-1, which is what this is. 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, right? The linebacker, this weak side player, is going to match to the 4-by-1 side. And look at the window we're able to create here. He matches the 4-by-1. Boom. Holy cow, Fred.
Yes.
Stealing. I don't care.
You can only pray if you're the cornerback right there.
Like you're totally on an island, right? So this is what the offense does. It gives the quarterback and answers versus multiple coverages, and we find ways to make easy throws. I don't want to make it hard, man. If we know the coverage, our guy Jacoby Brissett back there does a great job knowing where to go with the ball. That's easy. That's stealing, right? So that's what I think is really valuable in the preseason, is because defenses are running simple coverages, so you get to see the concepts executed at a high level. It also knows how to cultivate shots. What we're going to do here is we're going to run a dig, or a kind of a sit here. This is cover 3. We're going to run over the top and a sit here, okay? Now check this out. If you know it's cover 3, you can manipulate the coverage. Watch up here. They're going to run the sit up top. Look at the cover 3 corner, Fred. He sits on this. Off of a play action look, we get an extra guy in protection. There he is. Jacoby does a great job escaping the pocket, extending the play, and look at this. I mean, this is not a coverage bust.
No, this is just wide
by rule. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. This guy could probably cut this a little bit more aggressively, I would say, but by rule, this is what's happening. So understanding what the coverage is, what the beater is for this, and how do I create shots off of that. So check that out. Look at that. Boom. And that's steal. And there's our guy Tinsley, man. Congrats to him, man.
Mama, they go that man.
Making the roster off of some stuff, but look at the scheme and how it helps out. And again, we've talked about them ad nauseum in the red zone, understanding how to beat man coverage, right? So we're going to motion across, right? Okay, motion across. I'm going to let my guy get reset. Tinsley, man, get reset over there. Good. Look at the corner. We're like, who's got who? I got him in man, right? If I go back across, do I match them or do I bump?
Yeah.
That's a question.
They go to
Defensive-
question. And when I come back across, it's 4-by-1.
Yes, and look at how fast this dude is going.
Yeah.
Whoa. So I don't care even if you match it, I'm going to be wide open here, right? So
Yeah.
understanding how to put the defense in conflict, how to create simple throws from the quarterback.
Yeah.
And again, this is like the JV level. This is like the simplest version, but you get to see the concepts that are going to be excellent in this offense. So I really can't wait to see what this looks like week 1 versus Arizona when all the bells are whistles are in, right? So looking forward to seeing that. West Coast concepts, when to take shots, how to put the quarterback in good positions to be successful. What do you think?
Hey, I'm going to have to go in your comments.
Go in my comments, leave a comment, let's talk about it. Jakes, what do you think?
Thank you, Logan. If you want more breakdowns, make sure you tune into the Game Plan with Ron Rivera this Sunday at 8:30 in the morning on WUSA 9. Logan and the head coach will recap the preseason and get you ready for Washington's Week 1 kickoff against the Cardinals. Full episodes also available on the Commanders YouTube channel. Let's get one final take from our analysts, brought to you by the Washington Times. Week 1, just around the corner. What position groups are you looking forward to seeing, Tanner?
Put on my Fred Smoot voice.
Okay.
Fired up by the DBs. Now I'm looking forward to seeing the DBs go out there and do their stuff. I think, this preseason gave us a glimpse of what they can be, just getting their hands on the ball, being around the ball, making great plays when the guy's trying to catch the ball. I saw young guys out there, mature a little bit throughout the preseason. So it gives me that thought already that's saying, fast forward from now, when we see these guys go out there when it's live action, they're going to let it all hang out. And I think, with Forbes being one of those key additions, this secondary has something, it's something edgy about them coming to the season.
Yeah, and for me, it's got to be the defensive line. I mean, I want to see Chase Young healthy. I want to see Payne. I want to see Allen. I want to see Sweat. I want to see all those guys just play their best. Keep talking about how they're all poised for a big year, especially with the secondary playing the way they're playing. Like, is Montez going to have double-digit sacks this year? Can Chase do it too? Can John and Payne do what they've been doing? And then the depth, man, you always talk about the depth. You always forget that. Those guys had a great preseason. I want to see those guys rotate in and produce and contribute. That could be the most dominant group, top to bottom in the NFL, and I just want to see it happen. And it's going to be the first time against the Cardinals.
Well, he took the DBs. He took the D-line.
Yeah.
Where you going?
I'm going to go with the fighting Logan Paulson.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the tight end room. I'm going to go with that room because I just think they are all different in certain forms and fashion. You got John Bates, the guy that just do the dirty work. Whatever y'all need me to do, coach.
Yeah.
You got Cole Turner comes out there. He want to cut guys up and ride them up. Then you got Logan want to prove to people, I can still play at the highest level.
Yeah.
You got Hodges saying, you know what? Let the youngster in. Let me get a little bite of this. So I just think they're going to be that group because we know what we got at wide receiver. They're going to be that group that teams cannot zero in on.
Yeah.
They're going to be that group that never sees a double team. They're going to be that group that has a chance to exploit people week in and week out. That's the group I'm going to make.
And they have to be sharp anyway because with this offense, just seeing what Kelsey was able to do in Kansas City, I'm sure that this young Sam is going to be giving that kind of note each week. Now, when in doubt, you have a guy over the ball, you have a guy, in the middle of the field. And that's one of the things about being a tight end. When you're a tight end, especially on this level, you're your quarterback's best friend. So you're going to have opportunity to put up great numbers. And that's why Logan was able to do that 2 years ago because he was our young quarterback best friend. So I'm hoping to see those guys excel.
Not this Logan. The Logan that's on the team.
I was also say, like, for EB, though, it's a great tool because it dictates personnels to defenses, right? We can get big, we can get light, and they can win one-on-one matchups in a way that's very unique to the position. So I think that's a great pick, Fred. I wish I couldn't say that, but it's a great pick.
Well, thank you. I try.
It won't be long before Week 1 is here, and you are invited to join us as we kick off the 2023 season on Friday, September 8th at Franklin Park in D.C. It is our kickoff party presented by Bud Light. We're going to have giveaways, performances from the marching band and the command force, meet and greets with Washington legends, an appearance from Major Tutty. Fred, that's your guy. Tutty!
Bacon free!
And special appearances from current Commanders players as well. You can learn more and sign up to attend. It's a free event, commanders.com/kickoff party. That's going to do it for Command Center presented by SeatGeek. Go get those standing room only tickets. Going to be jacked at FedEx Field.
Man, where you get the bacon free, bro?
See you next time.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception? First down? Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best. smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.